Discover how one life-changing night revealed hidden talents in a Millionaire's twins. The grand chandelier glittered as the affluent elite of Maplewood mingled in a flurry of designer gowns and polished shoes. Mia and Jake, 17-year-old twins, stood on the balcony of their sprawling estate, observing the extravagance swirling around them. They felt like ghosts at their own party, wrapped in layers of silk and tailored suits that felt heavy with expectation. Beneath the facade of wealth and luxury, a void echoed within them. They craved deeper connections, something more genuine than the superficial pursuits of their friends. As the night wore on, a sudden power outage cut through the laughter and chatter, plunging the mansion into darkness. Gasps filled the room, but instead of panic, a spark ignited in the chaos. A makeshift talent show emerged like an unexpected phoenix, with guests grabbing random instruments, while others took turns sharing stories and jokes. The twins exchanged uncertain glances. Here was a moment of authenticity they had longed for, yet they stood torn, their hearts pounding with trepidation. "Mia, you should tell a story," Jake urged, his voice barely a whisper as he fiddled with the hem of his blazer. There was something in the air that felt electric, a chance to break free, but doubt held her back. Meanwhile, a soft voice broke through the murmur. A classmate's mother, a kind woman who always flashed a quick smile despite the burden of her two jobs. She stepped forward, eyes alight with determination, and began to sing. The haunting melody soared, captivating everyone, breaking barriers they had thought were insurmountable. Mia felt tears prick her eyes. She, too, had stories locked away, tales of hope, resilience, and imagining beyond the confines of their wealth. As applause erupted for the single mom's performance, something inside her stirred. She edged closer to the piano, where Jake absent-mindedly began to play, letting his fingers dance as though they had a mind of their own. The rich notes echoed in the darkness, weaving a tapestry of sound. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As laughter filled the room once again, Mia stepped into the spotlight. She shared a story, her voice trembling at first, but growing stronger with every word. The tales of hope flowed from her heart, reflecting the very nuances of life outside their estate, experiences that felt real and raw. The audience's attention shifted, absorbing her every word, their rich laughter contrasting sharply with emotions laid bare. Yet as the evening settled, reality cut through the evening's magic like a knife. The sound of their parents bickering about the evening's status echoed through the halls. Guilt twisted in Mia and Jake's chests as they felt that longing for approval and acceptance battling against the enlightenment they had uncovered. The night had unveiled a different truth. Just as they began to envision a world beyond their privilege, a loud crash from the dining room abruptly halted the laughter. The weight of uncertainty hung between them like a tightrope. Would they choose the predictable path laid before them, or leap into the unknown, forever changing the trajectory of their lives? They stared at each other, hearts racing, minds spinning. Fear threatened to pull them back, but for the first time, they felt a glimmer of hope. What would they choose as the last echoes of applause faded away? The sound of the crash echoed through the room like thunder. Mia and Jake's hearts raced as they exchanged a glance filled with unspoken fears. The party, once alive with laughter and music, now felt charged with an electric tension. They leaned toward the dining room, curiosity gnawing at them, wondering what calamity awaited inside. Jake took a breath, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. "Let us see what happened. Maybe we can help." Mia nodded reluctantly, feeling the weight of their shared decision pull them forward into the thick air of anxiety. Together, they moved towards the sound, weaving through small clusters of partygoers who had retreated into hushed whispers, their faces a mix of concern and curiosity. As they stepped into the dining room, The scene revealed itself a table set for a feast lay tipped over, crystal glasses shattered, and fine china scattered like fallen stars. A couple of their parents' friends stood awkwardly, attempting to restore order. At the center, Mia recognized a familiar face, the single mother who had just sung. She crouched low, her hands beside her, a look of embarrassment etched across her features. "Oh no, I'm so sorry," she murmured, her voice shaky. "I was just trying to help clear the table." Mia's heart ached for her. One moment of helpfulness had turned into a scene of chaos. Without thinking, she stepped forward. "It's all right. We can all help clean this up." Jake quickly joined her side. Together, they began picking up pieces of broken glass and gathering the remnants of the meal, their actions breaking down the wall of tension. Slowly, others joined, and the room buzzed with a renewed energy. Laughter, genuine laughter, began to swell again. "See?" Jake whispered to Mia as they cleared a particularly delicate teacup. "Moments like these are what it's all about." But Mia couldn't shake the feeling that the night had shifted. Their parents' bickering from earlier echoed in her mind, reminding her of the weight of the very world they were trying to rise above. She longed to keep this newfound sense of belonging, to hold on to the vulnerability and honesty that had finally surfaced among the guests. After the cleanup, Mia saw the single mother smiling in gratitude, her children huddled beside her. "You two have a gift," she said, her voice filled with sincerity. "Not just for storytelling, but for bringing people together. You inspire more than you know." Mia's chest warmed at the acknowledgement, a whisper of confidence urging her to embrace this moment fully. "Thank you," she replied, her voice steadier than before. "We just want to help." As the evening stretched on, the pulse of the party returned, but now something felt different. It was deeper, layered with stories shared and connections forged in vulnerability. Still, as the night wore on, the remnants of her parents' argument nagged at her, intensifying the pull of their expectations. Mia and Jake wandered back to the balcony, the moonlight casting silvery shadows across their faces. "What if we could do this more often?" Jake mused, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "Connect beyond this, all these expectations. What if we don't just perform?" Mia replied, her mind racing as possibilities formed like constellations before her. "What if we hosted something real? Something where people can share their stories without fear?" Suddenly, a sense of exhilaration surged through Mia. The night had opened a door she hadn't known was there. Before she could voice her thoughts, a new sound shattered the moment, a shrill argument spilling from the house, voices raised higher, sharper. Their parents had returned to the fray. Mia turned to Jake, panic dancing in her eyes. "What if they really don't understand us?" Jake caught her gaze, a mixture of concern and determination. "Then we show them. We don't have to take their path. We can find our own." And in that uncertain moment, the twins stood at a crossroads. Would they dare to step into their truth or retreat into the shadows once more? Mia and Jake lingered on the balcony, thoughts swirling like leaves caught in an autumn gust. The argument inside was escalating, veering into territory they couldn't ignore. Mia could feel the weight of their parents' expectations on her shoulders, the pressure pushing them into the shadows they fought so hard to escape. "Maybe we should just go back in," Mia suggested, her voice wavering. "Avoid the emotional mess." But Jake shook his head, fierce determination brightening his features. "No, we can't keep avoiding who we are. If we hide now, it'll just hurt more later." Taking a deep breath, Mia steeled herself. "You're right," she said, steadying her voice. "Let us show them what we can do, what we really want." They headed back inside, feet firm against the cool tiles. The air was thick with tension, the argument almost palpable. Mia could see her parents through the doorway, red faces and animated gestures painting a picture she knew all too well, one filled with frustration, disappointment, and a desperate need for control. "Why do you have to be so reckless with your dreams?" Her mother's voice cut through the noise, tinged with worry. "You need stability, not another whim." Their father countered with a loud grunt, arms crossed. "And what about his future? You both can't keep flitting around like this. You'll end up nowhere." Mia felt her heart clench. Their words stung, echoing the doubt she constantly battled. But as she surveyed the room, a spark ignited within her. She took a step forward, grabbing Jake's hand tightly. "Mom, Dad." Her voice sliced through the argument, pulling their attention like a magnet. The room fell silent, eyes turning toward the twins. "What's wrong?" her mother asked, her tone shifting instantly to concern. "We want to talk." Jake took the reins, his voice steady, yet trembling with the weight of their conviction. "About what we really want." Mia could see curiosity flickering in her father's eyes, a sliver of hope perhaps glinting there among their doubts. "And what's that?" he asked, the bite in his voice softened, though still guarded. "We want to host a storytelling night," Mia blurted, the words tumbling out of her mouth like a rush of adrenaline. "A real night where everyone can share their stories, no judgment, just honesty." Her parents exchanged bemused glances, and Mia took a step closer, feeling the fire building in her chest. "We want to connect with others and ourselves, not just do what's expected. We want to inspire." The room felt charged with a new kind of electricity, the kind born from vulnerability. Walls began to crack, the tension ebbing slightly. "We're not just going to perform for you or anyone else anymore," Jake added firmly. "We want to create something meaningful." "What do you mean?" their father pressed, his expression shifting from confusion to genuine curiosity. Mia shared a glance with Jake, a silent understanding passing between them. "Let us show you what we can build together," she said, her voice stronger now. "Not just for you, but for us, for everyone who feels lost." As she spoke, her heart raced, and she could feel a shift in the energy of the room. A long pause hung in the air like the calm before a storm. Mia's breath caught slightly, unsure of how her parents would respond. But suddenly, their mother's expression softened, her face unfolding into a tentative smile. "You really believe in this?" "Yes," they both replied in unison, their voices a harmonious echo of hope. A flicker of realization sparked in their mother's eyes. "All right," she said slowly, "let us give it a chance. Let us see what you can do." Mia's heart soared. The path ahead felt unclear, but a rush of purpose thrilled through her veins. As she and Jake made plans to transform their idea into reality, the shrill arguments faded into the background, replaced by a new rhythm, the heartbeat of their dreams. They were stepping into a world of possibilities, one heartbeat at a time, but as excitement surged within them, a thought nagged at the corners of Mia's mind. What if their parents changed course at the last moment? What if they held on tighter to their own fears? With her heart still racing, Mia turned once more toward the balcony, the moonlight casting a hopeful glow on their journey. Would they hold fast to their newfound freedom, or would the shadows and their parents' voices pull them back? The night felt alive with promise, but a flicker of anxiety lingered. How would they navigate the unexpected twists ahead? The days that followed felt like an exhilarating blur. Mia and Jake dove headfirst into planning the storytelling night, a whirlwind of excitement mixed with uncertainty. They wanted to create a space where authenticity reigned, where voices could rise above the noise of judgment and fear. One afternoon, they sprawled on their living room floor, sketches and notes scattered like leaves after a storm. With each idea exchanged, the spark between them grew. "What if we had a theme for the night?" Jake suggested, his eyes gleaming. Mia nodded, already envisioning the scene. "Yeah, it could be about moments of change, like the times when we faced something big and learned from it." Their ideas flowed freely, laughter erupting as they imagined everything from cozy lighting to colorful decorations. It felt like they were stitching a dream together right in front of them. But amidst the laughter, a shadow flickered across Mia's heart. Would anyone come? Would it matter? That evening, as they sat at the kitchen table with their parents, the atmosphere felt lighter, the tension that once hung over them replaced by cautious optimism. Mia's mother sipped from her mug, thoughtful. "Have you decided on a date yet?" Next Friday, Jake chimed in, a smile breaking over his face. "We want to invite everyone. Friends, neighbors, even people from school." Their father raised an eyebrow. "And you've prepared well enough to entertain them? What if it flops?" Mia swallowed hard. Doubt laced her father's words, but she could see a glimmer of intrigue in his eyes. "We're ready to pour our hearts into this, Dad. We'll make it meaningful." He nodded slowly, still skeptical but softened by their conviction. The week flew by, filled with late-night rehearsals and last-minute preparations. They crafted the invitation, an open letter to anyone willing to share. Printed in bold on the top of each invitation were the words, "Everyone has a story." It felt like calling out into the universe. As the day of the event approached, Mia found herself pacing in her room. The walls were plastered with posters they'd made, a colorful reminder of the dreams they were launching into the world. She caught sight of herself in the mirror, heart racing and hands clammy as she tried to calm the storm brewing inside. "What if it's just us?" she murmured to herself. Jake knocked on the door and slipped inside, his expression serious. "Hey, Mia. You good?" She took a deep breath, letting it out slowly. "What if no one shows up? What if we built this thing up for nothing?" He stepped closer, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "It doesn't matter. We started this because we believe in something bigger than ourselves. No matter who shows, we're going to make it count. You know how these stories can change lives." His confidence pulsed through her like a heartbeat, easing her fears and igniting the fire of determination once again. Suddenly, the possibility of failure felt small next to their passion. The day arrived, vibrant and warm, and the community center hummed with an air of expectancy. Mia and Jake stood shoulder to shoulder, glancing around at the sparse number of chairs set up. Doubts crept back in, whispering cruel thoughts, but they pushed them away. Then, the door swung open, and one by one, familiar faces poured in, friends, family, even neighbors they'd never spoken to before. The room filled, laughter bubbling up like a warm tide. Just as the final chair was taken, Mia looked at Jake. His expression mirrored her mixture of disbelief and elation. "I can't believe it," she breathed. "Neither can I." He cast a glance toward the stage, a makeshift spot they'd put together with their old guitar case as a stand. "We're doing this." With hearts pounding like drums, Mia stepped up to the front of the room, ready to welcome everyone. But before she could even speak, the reality of what they were doing washed over her, leaving her breathless. This was a moment of change. Then, from the back of the room, someone raised their hand tentatively. "Can we tell a story now?" And, just like that, the world they had imagined began turning, leading Mia and Jake into an unexpected journey. But with that first request hanging in the air, they both felt a surge of uncertainty. What would be the first story shared that night? Would it be one that changed everything? Mia blinked, startled by the request hanging in the air. The room was alive with anticipation. Each face held a mix of curiosity and excitement, but she could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on her like a thick blanket. She exchanged a glance with Jake, who nodded encouragingly, his smile widening. Yes," Mia said, her voice shaky but determined. "We'd love that. Each of you can share a moment of change that's impacted your life. It doesn't have to be long, just something real. Who wants to go first?" Silence settled for a brief moment, broken only by the shuffle of feet and soft murmurs. Then an older woman, Mrs. Thompson from next door, raised her hand. "I'll go," she said, her voice steady but laced with emotion. She stood up, brushing off her skirt and taking a deep breath as she approached the makeshift stage. Mia leaned against Jake, their eyes trained on the woman. Mrs. Thompson had always seemed so gentle, a retired teacher with a knack for baking cookies that made all the neighborhood kids smile. As she stood there, an unexpected strength radiated from her. "I've been afraid for a long time," she started, her voice quivering with vulnerability. "Afraid to speak my truth, afraid of judgment. But I found solace in storytelling. It helped me heal." She detailed a moment of loss, recollecting how, after losing her husband, she struggled to regain her footing. The room fell silent, hanging on each word. "I began to share stories from my life, and in doing so, I rediscovered joy. I learned that others resonate with pain, and I wasn't alone." As she spoke, Mia felt tears prick at her eyes. The story unfolded like a blooming flower, cultivating empathy among the listeners. When Mrs. Thompson finished, the crowd erupted into applause, the sound echoing off the walls like a wave of support. Jake leaned closer to Mia. "This is amazing. People connecting just like we wanted. The next to step forward was Lucas, a shy boy from school, usually kept to himself. He had unassuming eyes that always seemed filled with unspoken words, and Mia had often wondered about his story. He shuffled to the front and ran a hand through his messy hair. "I'm not good at this," he mumbled, anxiety bubbling to the surface. "But my moment, it happened last summer. I went to a music camp. At first, I was terrified to play in front of everyone. But then I did. I played a song I wrote. The room tensed, everyone leaning in. I got a standing ovation," Lucas continued, a glimmer of disbelief in his eyes. It felt powerful. His voice rose with newfound energy, and Mia could see how the memories ignited something within him. "That moment changed me. Now I'm working on an album. I just want to inspire others, like Mrs. Thompson inspired me." More stories flowed, each one beautiful and raw, each voice finding strength among shared experiences. Laughter echoed where sadness might have lingered, and each narrative forged a connection between the storytellers and listeners. Mia and Jake exchanged triumphant smiles. As they soaked in the sense of community burgeoning around them, they realized that they hadn't just hosted an event. They had created a sanctuary for those clutching their stories tightly, waiting for the right moment to let them go. As the last storyteller wrapped up, the audience erupted into applause once more, the energy like electric fire. Mia's heart swelled with gratitude. They had done this, created something special. But as the noise subsided and the night began to wind down, a curious thought crept into Mia's mind. The realization that this was just the beginning wormed its way in. Their event had sparked something new, and they could still build on this energy. Jake caught her gaze, a knowing smile on his lips. "So, what's next?" Mia's heart raced. More stories, more nights like this. We have to keep going. Who else is out there? And as they contemplated the possibilities ahead, anticipation buzzed in the air. What would their next storytelling night reveal? What other hidden talents or stories might emerge to change not just their lives, but the lives of many? The atmosphere in the room began to shift as the final applause faded. Enthusiasm transformed into whispers of excitement, and Mia could sense a swell of eager anticipation building once again. "All right, everyone. Let's clean up," Mia called, her voice ringing bright against the afterglow of shared stories. She grabbed her usual trash bag, but as she moved through the crowd, she noticed people clustered in groups, still buzzing from the night's energy. Lucas stood close to Mrs. Thompson, sharing a joke that made her laugh, the sound like music echoing in the stillness. Mia couldn't help but smile at how friendships were forming before her eyes, healing woven into their shared experiences. Jake stepped beside her, brushing his arm against hers. "What do you think? Should we set a date for the next one?" Mia paused, considering. "Definitely, but I want to add something more interactive maybe, like workshops or theme nights." Jake nodded. His eyes sparkled with enthusiasm. "I love it. Think about it. Storytelling on a theme, a chance to get hands on it could be incredible." They continued brainstorming while tidying up, excitement reviving the energy in the room. As Mia tossed crumpled napkins into the bag, her gaze landed on someone unexpected sitting quietly in the corner. Sophia, a girl from high school known for her wealth and reserved charm, had her arms crossed, leaning against the wall. Mia's heart raced. Sophia had always seemed distant, a lioness in a world of rabbits that Mia felt she couldn't penetrate. Before Mia realized it, she was making her way over. "Hey, Sophia," Mia said with a warm smile. "Did you enjoy the event?" Sophia looked surprised. "Honestly? Yes. I didn't think I would." Her voice dripped with sincerity, revealing a hint of vulnerability Mia hadn't seen before. "You should have shared a story." "We want more voices," Mia encouraged, her heart racing at the thought of opening up new realms. Sophia shifted uncomfortably. I don't really have any extraordinary moments. Not like those stories." Mia could feel the weight of her insecurities. "But I bet you have something that made an impact on you." Everyone's story matters. The two stood in silence for a moment, and then a dazzle of recognition sparked in Sophia's eyes. "Okay, I might have a story, but it's not like anyone would care." Mia wasn't ready to let that thought go unchallenged. Tell me. We can create the space for it. As Mia pressed her gently, Sophia took a deep breath. There was a time when my family lost everything. It shifted my entire perspective, made me who I am today. Her voice trembled with the courage of sharing a burden she had held close for so long. Mia felt her heart squeeze. See? That's a story. Sophia looked surprised at the excitement emanating from Mia. You think so? Yes. We need that authenticity. It connects us. At that moment, it became clear to Mia that this was more than just a storytelling night. It was a movement, a sanctuary where walls were crumbling and new connections were forming. What if Sophia's hidden story led the way for others? Jake approached, sensing the change in mood. What is happening over here? Mia gestured to Sophia. She has a story she might share. Really? Jake's eyes brightened. That is awesome. Encouraged by their enthusiasm, Sophia found resolve. Okay, I'll think about it for next time. Mia's heart swelled. Perfect. The next storytelling night is going to be a revelation. And as they exchanged excited remarks, the door to possibilities swung wide open. Mia felt the anticipation of what lay ahead radiate from the group. This was a spark growing into a wildfire. Just then, the door creaked open with a gust of wind, and a familiar figure walked in, a striking man dressed in polished attire that contrasted with the cozy gathering. Everyone's chatter died down, and Mia could feel the weight of his presence filling the room. Sorry to interrupt, he said with a charming smile. I heard this was the place to be for a good story. Mia felt her breath catch. Who is he? And why did he seem like he was about to turn their world upside down? The room was still, the air thick with curiosity and trepidation. Mia felt her heart racing. This wasn't just any stranger. There was something undeniably magnetic about him, something that made her want to know more. His gaze swept over the crowd, capturing each person's attention, as if they were suddenly drawn into an unspoken pact. I'm Ryan, he offered, his smile broadening as he extended a hand towards Jake, who seemed caught off guard yet intrigued. Mia, she introduced herself, stepping forward without thinking. What brings you here tonight? I wasn't planning on attending, but I happened to wander by after a long day. When I saw all the smiles and heard laughter, I had to see for myself. His voice was rich and confident, igniting something within Mia: hope, excitement, maybe even a little fear of the unknown. Are you a storyteller? Jake asked, his voice filled with an eager tone that almost drowned out the stillness of the room. Ryan chuckled, shaking his head. Not exactly. I'm more of a listener, but I appreciate the art. Stories have a way of weaving connections, don't they? Mia exchanged a quick glance with Jake, both of them feeling a sudden spark of possibility. Could this man's unexpected presence open new doors? The warmth of the gathering shifted as people began to inch closer, captivated by the unfolding scene. I think you'd be a perfect fit for our next event, Mia said, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of thoughts coursing through her mind. We're looking to bring in new voices, new stories. Everyone has something to share, even you. Ryan raised an eyebrow, intrigued. You think I have a story worth telling? What if my story is too ordinary? Ordinary is what connects us, Mia asserted, her confidence growing. It's how we relate and share our human experience. That's the magic of storytelling. As she spoke, she could see Sophia lighting up in the back, encouraged by Mia's words. Maybe it wasn't just Ryan's presence that held power. Maybe it was the potential for transformation in all of them. Just then, a soft voice emerged from the corner. I'd like to hear your story, if you're willing to share, Sophia said, her hands gripping the edge of the table, her boldness unexpected yet lovely. Ryan turned to Sophia, momentarily caught off guard at her unexpected bravery. My story? Why do you want to hear it? Because we all have stories that matter, Sophia replied quietly. Even if they don't seem significant at first, they can mean everything to someone else. Mia watched as Ryan took a step closer, the tension in the air shifting once more. All right then, he said slowly, if you're all willing to listen, I can share a bit about my journey. The crowd leaned in, excitement palpable. But first, Ryan added, a playful glint in his eyes, how about we make this storytelling a little more interesting? Let us turn this into a challenge, a storytelling duel. Cheers erupted in the space, the atmosphere pulsing with renewed energy. Mia felt a rush of exhilaration. What would that mean? A duel of stories? What would people reveal? Each of us will share a story, but the twist is, it has to be tied to a lesson learned. Let us see who can test their storytelling skills the most. Laughter and murmurs of agreement filled the room. Plans to create groups formed spontaneously, everyone eager to jump in on this unexpected challenge. As Mia looked around, her heart raced with anticipation. They were on the brink of discovering connections that could change lives. What hidden talents might emerge from this storytelling duel? With a grin, she turned back to Ryan. You know you just ignited a fire, right? This is going to be incredible. Let us hope it all goes as planned, Ryan replied, a hint of mischief in his expression. But Mia couldn't shake the feeling that this night was just the beginning. What stories were waiting to be uncovered? What truths lingered just beneath the surface of their carefully curated lives? With that, the room simmered with promises of revelations and the thrill of the unknown. Who would step up next, and what would they reveal? As the crowd erupted in excitement, the energy in the room felt electric. Mia couldn't help but smile, feeling a mixture of adrenaline and hope as she glanced around at the eager faces. Each person brought unique experiences, and it was thrilling to think what stories they might share. Let us split into groups, Mia suggested, raising her voice above the chatter. The room buzzed with agreement, and soon, small clusters of people formed, leaning in closely to each other. Jake quickly grabbed Sophia's arm and pulled her closer, grinning from ear to ear. All right, you two, how about we team up? He said, his eyes sparkling with excitement. Ryan watched the energy unfold, his initial shyness evaporating as he joined one of the groups. He seemed more at home now, warmth radiating from him as he gathered around with people who were just as enthusiastic about storytelling. Mia stood back, taking a moment to appreciate the connection growing in the room. She felt like a proud conductor overseeing a symphony of emotion and creativity. Everyone there had something to offer, and it felt beautiful. An older gentleman named Ted, a frequent attendee at events like these, was the first to take charge in his group. I'll go first, he declared, his voice steady like an anchor in the storm of chaos. I've got a tale that taught me the value of resilience. Mia focused on him, the room falling silent as he began recounting a life-changing experience in his youth. His voice trembled with nostalgia, yet there was strength behind it. Mia listened carefully, feeling the weight of his words and the lessons embedded in them. Just then, she noticed Ryan across the room. He was engaged with a few younger members, their faces alive with wonder as he shared what seemed like snippets of his life. It touched Mia to see him so immersed. Maybe he was more than just a casual listener after all. When Ryan's group began to share, Mia strained to hear. A girl with curly hair, Annie, spoke first. I once felt lost when I started college in a city far from home. Neither my classes nor friends felt like a fit until I found a group dedicated to volunteering. Her voice dripped with sincerity. By serving others, I rediscovered myself. The group nodded, the lesson hitting home. A ripple of understanding passed through the audience, reminding them about the importance of finding purpose. As the stories flowed, Mia felt a stirring in her soul. Each tale was wrapped in vulnerability, revealing layers of humanity they often didn't show in everyday life. She leaned towards a group featuring Jake and Sophia, eagerly listening, their expressions full of warmth and meaning. It was hard to believe that only moments ago they had all stood apart, now united by the power of storytelling. Who's next? Ryan called out, his voice playful, yet it carried an undercurrent of genuine curiosity. Mia watched as everyone exchanged glances. Excitement mixed with trepidation hung thickly in the air. Would they be brave enough to step up and share? In that moment, Mia realized a longing in her heart for connection, for these individuals to not just leave with great stories, but to transform together. They had all become part of something bigger tonight, and she hoped the ripples would carry far beyond these walls. Suddenly, Ryan's gaze caught hers, and a flicker of understanding passed between them. She could sense he had something profound to share. Would he step up next? What revelation would follow? The room seemed to hold its breath, pregnant with anticipation. Who would break the silence first? What new truths would emerge from this gathering of curious hearts? The room felt charged, and Mia's heart raced. Ryan stood at the edge of his group, the sway of emotions evident on his face. Time seemed to stretch between them, an invitation lingering in the air. "Come on, Ryan," someone called, nudging him lightly. He looked around, searching faces that echoed encouragement. Their eyes sparkled with warmth, pulling him closer to leap into the unknown. Mia held her breath, willing him to see what she saw, that he was more than the quiet guy who often faded into the background. Finally, he took a step forward, lifting his chin a little higher. "Okay, I guess I'll go next," he said, his voice steadying. As he began, Mia felt her heart thump. "Growing up, I always felt like I was living in the shadows of my family. They were this large, powerful force, and I often felt invisible," he admitted. The room fell silent, everyone leaning in closer, captivated by his vulnerability. They shared something in that moment, the flickers of doubt and the shadows they each carried. But one day, Ryan continued, finding his rhythm, "I discovered art. It felt like breathing for the first time. I'd sit for hours, my hands covered in paint, creating what I felt inside. It became my escape." Mia's chest tightened. She could picture him then, a boy lost in color, his heart spilling out on canvas. "It was beautiful." Ryan took a deep breath, eyes shining, "but I kept it hidden. I thought if my family saw, they'd laugh. I was scared to ruin their image of what I should be." An audible gasp echoed in the room, and Mia could see nods of understanding ripple through the crowd. "Then one night I met a stranger at an art show. He looked at my work and said, 'You have a gift. Don't deny it to the world.' That moment changed me. I realized I couldn't keep hiding." A smile began to spread across Ryan's face. "So, I took a leap. I sent some pieces to an exhibit, almost expecting rejection, but instead, people loved them. My voice mattered. It was my truth." Mia felt tears prickling at her eyelids, the overwhelming emotion washing over her. She wasn't just moved by Ryan's story, she felt mirrored in it. It was a reminder of the passions they often bury beneath expectations. As he wrapped up, the applause erupted, pulling him from his thoughts. Joy radiated from Ryan, disbelief mixing with pride. For a second, he looked like he occupied another realm where artists thrived, unshackled by judgment. In that moment, Mia realized her vision for the gathering was coming to life. They were beginning to see each other. Every story shared was pushing boundaries, shifting perspectives. It was raw, real, and transformative. Ryan chuckled softly, scratching the back of his head. "Thanks, I didn't know I could spill all that. I guess it just needed to come out." "Who knew?" Jake chimed in, "You've got a hidden talent. You should keep sharing." "I think we all do," Sophia added, her voice filled with warmth. "Tonight is about uncovering those buried stories." Mia felt the hum of excitement in her chest. Who else in the room held talents waiting to be unearthed? Laughter and stories bounced in the air, weaving a tapestry of community. Yet, as the conversation swelled, she couldn't shake the feeling that they were on the brink of something deeper. Mia's gaze swept the room, landing on Ted, whose wise eyes sparkled with a knowing glimmer. "Sometimes," he began gently, "the stories we hide carry more light than we realize. Who else here has something to share?" As murmurs spread, Mia felt a renewed wave of anticipation wash over her, sensing there were even more treasures buried within them, just waiting to be uncovered. Would the next person step forward and illuminate something within not just themselves, but the entire gathering? What was waiting beyond that horizon of fear? As the room buzzed with anticipation and newfound energy, Mia felt her heart flutter with an undeniable sense of purpose. Stories had a way of bringing people together, and tonight was proving to be a beautiful testament to that truth. But amid the laughter and shared tales, there was one story that hung in the air, still waiting to be told. "Who else has something to share?" Mia called, her voice steady. The room fell silent, eyes flickering with hesitation. She knew that vulnerability was often wrapped in fear. Her own heart pounded in her chest, recalling the trepidation that had gripped her just before stepping into the spotlight earlier that night. An older gentleman, Mr. Henderson, raised his hand slowly. I think I might have something. It's not easy to share, but he paused, letting the weight of the moment settle around him. I lost my wife a year ago. Life has been different since. Mia held her breath, feeling the room shift into stillness. People leaned slightly forward, visibly invested in the raw emotion bubbling just beneath the surface of Mr. Henderson's words. I thought I had lost everything, he continued, his voice cracking, but I discovered memories tucked away in our books, our favorite places. I began to share stories about her, about us. And it started to heal me. Tears swelled in Mia's eyes as he spoke. She could see the faces around her reflected the same mixture of empathy and connection. Every person in that room was part of a larger tapestry woven from the threads of both joy and sorrow. And I learned something, Mr. Henderson said, his voice steadying. Sometimes sharing our pain allows others to share theirs. And that in itself can be incredibly healing. The applause that followed his words resonated deep within Mia, a collective acknowledgement of the strength shared in vulnerability. Thank you for sharing, Mia whispered as he returned to his seat. She felt the tides of courage washing over the room, fueling her belief that healing could only happen through connection and conversation. From across the crowd, Ryan caught her gaze, a small smile dancing on his lips. In that moment, they shared an understanding, the recognition that they were part of a greater journey, a purpose that transcended their individual stories. You see? He mouthed silently, his eyes shimmering with excitement. Who else? Mia called, longing to keep this momentum alive. There was something liberating in this exchange, a rhythm formed by every story shared. Then, in a bold whisper, Lucas, the shy boy from earlier, stepped up. I have something, he stammered, and the audience ushered him closer with supportive smiles. It was during that music camp. I felt inadequate next to other musicians, but realized that was part of it, to embracing my own journey. He hesitated before continuing. Sharing my song was terrifying, but it made me feel alive. I want to remind everyone that it's okay to not fit the mold. That's where the beauty lies. The crowd erupted in applause again, their excitement tangling into a chorus of encouragement that echoed against the walls. Lucas's face glowed, and Mia felt the power of his words settle in her heart like a warm blanket. And you all are part of my new song too, Lucas exclaimed, his voice rising over the applause. Mia felt exhilarated. This was what they had been striving for, a community of voices, ready to lift each other higher. With renewed energy, Mia took a moment to capture the scene. Their gathering was more than a storytelling night. It was a movement of bridges being built, walls coming down, and hearts opening widely. As the night stretched on, stories flowed like a gentle river, each person sharing fragments of themselves, moments that spoke of pain, joy, transformation, and hope. Jake told a tale of a school project that changed his perspective on teamwork. Sophia emerged with her tale, sharing hardships that had sharpened her sense of empathy. Each narrative unfolded like petals of a blooming flower. Together, they were creating an environment rich with love and understanding, a space where everyone belonged. With the evening coming to a close, Mia stepped back up to the center, her heartbeat pulsing rhythmically. Can I just say how absolutely incredible this has been? Cheers erupted, but it was the warmth in their gazes that really took her breath away. This is just the start, she continued, exhilarated. Tonight, we've uncovered stories we didn't even know were buried within us. They breathed as one. There's so much more to share, to learn, and to experience together. As the applause enlightened the air, Ryan stepped up beside her, a blend of admiration and admiration in his eyes. Let's keep this going, he suggested, his voice wrapping around each word like a comforting embrace. We could meet once a month, expand it even more. Yes, everyone chimed, the room igniting with fervor once more. The glow of determination hung thick in the air. With renewed purpose, they began organizing future events, workshops, theme nights, even collaborative projects that would blend their creative talents. Mia felt the sparks forming not only ideas, but deeper connections among them. As she locked eyes with Jake, the delighted grin on his face mirrored her joy. They had created something alive, bursting with the potential to foster change in their community, an ongoing story of connection and growth. Things are forever different now, Mia whispered to Jake, her heart swelling with hope. Yes, he replied, and they both knew it was true. Fear would always challenge them, but together they would rise to meet it. Their journey was just beginning. In that moment, Mia decided it wasn't just about their stories. It was about embracing every facet of their lives. It was the story of their family, their friendships, their community, and above all, themselves. As Mia glanced at the crowd, she realized something monumental. This wasn't just about sharing tales, it was about standing tall together, inviting one another to step out from behind the masks they wore. It was about discovering who they truly were. And as the room filled with promises and laughter, she smiled, feeling a rush of gratitude wash over her. This was the magic of storytelling. It wouldn't stop here. As she basked in the serenity of their collective transformation, she knew this was the moment to nurture. The ripples of change had begun, and they were only just starting to dance across the surface of their lives. Thank you all for being part of this. Let us keep the stories coming, Mia whispered, her heart full. With a sense of fulfillment and excitement for what lay ahead, they filed out into the night, their spirits soaring, and as they did, a wonderful thought crossed Mia's mind. This was just the beginning. As Mia gazed back over her shoulder at the laughter and glowing conversations, she felt a spark ignite deep within her. Let us build this together, she thought. And now, it's time for you to take action. Subscribe immediately to this channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories filled with transformation and inspiration. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. We need your support. Comment your reactions and feelings about this ending below. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see these powerful transformations. Remember, only true fans understand the importance of supporting this journey.